One of the biggest challenges when it comes to building wealth is that most people have no idea where they're going. They just kind of drift through life and hope that someday they get to a point where they're wealthy. But if you don't know where you're going, how can you ever expect to get there? That's why in this video, we're going to talk about the importance of setting clear financial goals and how doing so will set you up for success in building wealth. Now, most people hear the word goal setting and they immediately think of like New Year's resolutions. And while it is important to set annual goals, in this video, we're going to talk about long-term goals, the goals that should span multiple years, the goals that should really be the guiding principles of your entire career and your entire financial journey. These are the big goals that will shape your future. So make sure you watch this whole video, because at the end, I'm going to give you some frameworks and examples that you can follow along with yourself to come up with your own personal financial goals. First, let's start off by talking about why goal setting is so important. In 2019, almost 80% of Americans said that they were living paycheck to paycheck. And that number has probably grown even larger since then given the current state of inflation. Now imagine that you're one of those people who's living paycheck to paycheck. Every month, you're struggling to pay your bills, you're constantly stressed about money, and it seems like no matter how hard you work, you're never able to save any money. This situation is obviously not ideal, and it's also not sustainable long-term. If you're constantly living paycheck to paycheck, you're always going to be stressed out about money, and it's going to be very difficult to achieve any kind of financial success. That's why it's so important to set clear financial goals. When you have clear goals, you know exactly what you're working towards, and this gives you something to strive for every single day. It gives you motivation, and it helps you stay focused on the things that are important. Having clear goals also helps you prioritize your spending and make sure that you're allocating your money towards the things that are most important to you. You'll be less likely to waste money on things that don't really matter to you, and you'll be more likely to invest your money in ways that will help you grow your wealth over time. Overall, setting clear financial goals is essential for anyone who wants to achieve financial success. It helps you get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle, prioritize your spending, and invest your money in a way that will help you build wealth over time. Next, let's talk about how to actually go about setting these goals. First, you need to figure out what you want to accomplish. This could be anything from paying off debt to saving for retirement. Maybe you want to save enough money to buy a house, or maybe you want to become a millionaire. Whatever it is, write it down and be specific. For example, instead of saying, "I want to save money," say, "I want to have $1 million in savings by the year 2030. Once you have a specific goal in mind, you need to figure out how much money you need to reach that goal. This is important because it will give you a target to aim for, and it will help you stay motivated. Let's say, for example, that your goal is to buy a house. How much money do you need to save up to afford the down payment? How much money do you need to cover all the closing costs? Once you know how much money you need to save up, you can start figuring out how to actually reach that goal. So now you need to figure out how you're going to reach your goal. To do this, you need to create a plan. Your plan should include things like how much money you need to save each month, what investments you're going to make, and what expenses you need to cut back on. A good plan is essential because it will keep you on track and it will help you stay motivated. One great framework that you can follow is called the SMART framework. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Let's use the SMART framework to come up with a plan to save $1 million. So first, you need to figure out how much money you need to save each month. So you divide the total amount of money you want to save by the number of months you have to save it. So $1 million divided by 12 months equals $83,000 per month. So your goal is to save $83,000 per month. Then you need to figure out what investments you're going to make to reach your goal. Are you going to invest in stocks, bonds, or real estate? How much risk are you willing to take on? Based on your answers, you can develop an investment strategy that will help you reach your goal. Next, you need to figure out what expenses you need to cut back on. Are there any areas where you can reduce your spending without sacrificing your quality of life? Maybe you can cut back on dining out or entertainment to save some extra money. Finally, you need to set a deadline for yourself. When do you want to reach your goal? Having a deadline will help you stay focused and motivated. So, based on the SMART framework, here's an example of a plan to save $1 million. You would commit to saving $83,000 each month by investing in a diversified portfolio of low-cost index funds and cutting back on discretionary spending. You would also set a deadline for yourself of 5 years from now. This would mean that you need to invest around $25,000 per month into your investment accounts and another $6,000 into your emergency fund. So, once you have a plan in place, you need to put it into action. This means making changes to your lifestyle, your spending habits, and your investment strategy. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Now, there are a few things that will help you stay on track. First, you need to monitor your progress regularly. This means tracking your expenses, your investments, and your overall net worth. By monitoring your progress, you'll be able to see how far you've come and what you still have to do. Second, you need to make adjustments along the way. Life happens and things change, so be prepared to make adjustments to your plan as needed. This might mean cutting back even more on spending or investing more money. Finally, you need to celebrate your successes along the way. Achieving financial goals takes a lot of hard work and dedication, so be sure to celebrate your successes along the way. This will help you stay motivated and focused on your goals. Here's a simple framework that you can follow to come up with your own personal financial goals. Step 1. Identify your values. What's important to you? Is it freedom, flexibility, security? Step 2. Brainstorm a list of possible goals. There are no limits here. Write down every goal that you can think of, no matter how big or small. Step 3. Evaluate your goals against your values. Which goals are most important to you? Step 4. Select specific goals to pursue. Be realistic and choose goals that you can actually achieve. Step 5. Set deadlines for your goals. This will help you stay on track and motivated. Step 6. Develop a plan for achieving your goals. This includes figuring out how much money you need to save, what investments you'll make, and what expenses you need to cut back on. Step 7. Monitor your progress and make adjustments as needed. So, if you want to succeed financially, you need to set clear goals and make a plan to achieve them. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Thank you for watching this video, and if you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.